Bitcoin, the history of the most expensive cryptocurrency. Bitcoin breaks its own value records almost every day. Only since the beginning of the year, its price has already doubled. Why Bitcoin? Because now there are about 6,000 different cryptocurrencies, and there are more and more new ones. Yes, they are new, but in fact, different versions of the same. The very first and outstanding digital currency, Bitcoin, which is called the most important invention of mankind after the creation of the internet. What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is the world's first virtual currency or cryptocurrency. It is a digital medium of exchange that is created and used by individuals or groups. Most cryptocurrencies are not regulated by governments and exist outside of state monetary structures. When creating Bitcoin, developers use cryptographic protocols, extremely complex code systems based on advanced achievements in mathematics and computer engineering. These protocols protect the virtual currency from duplication and forgery and mask the identity of the user. The cryptocurrency is not backed by any assets and is not tied to any other currencies. Its course depends only on supply and demand, but nevertheless, Bitcoin is a recognized global payment system. How is it different? The main difference from traditional systems is decentralization. Operations are performed directly between users, bypassing the stage of the control center. Since it simply does not exist, the Bitcoin exchange rate does not depend on inflation. Cryptocurrency can be stored on your computer or smartphone, and it cannot be stolen. Virtual transfers cannot be blocked, and funds cannot be frozen. Each transaction is anonymous and is not limited to a certain amount. Where do Bitcoins come from? They don't materialize out of thin air, do they? To get a cryptocurrency, you need to generate it, that is, mine it from the English mining. Bitcoin mining is done by solving complex mathematical problems by a computer. For solving, each miner receives a certain amount of Satoshi, the minimum units of Bitcoin. Such tasks can be solved on a regular home PC, but it will take a very long time, and the output will be negligible. The more powerful the computer, the faster digital coins are mined. Mining as a way of earning money is very popular in countries with unstable economies and constantly rising inflation. For example, in Venezuela, the extracted Satoshi are recorded in the virtual ledger. It is called blockchain and is not located in any particular place, but on the computers of all miners at the same time. The record cannot be forged. Others will immediately discover the deception and refuse to accept it. To hack the system, you need to fill more than half of all users' computers with fake records, and this is physically impossible. Those who have tried say that it was created by a brilliant programmer and cryptographer, or a group of talented programmers and cryptographers. Or maybe the CIA is behind everything. Or is it a conspiracy of large corporations who created Bitcoin? This story is more mysterious than many detectives. Mysterious genius. The main drawback of modern money is that it needs trust. We have to trust central banks. But history knows hundreds of examples when they undermine trust by completely devaluing their pieces of paper. See Satoshi Nakamoto on August 18, 2008. The domain name was registered bitcoin.org. A few months later, members of the cryptography and cypherpunk community began receiving letters signed by a certain Satoshi Nakamoto via closed email newsletter. In the message, he claimed that he was finishing work on creating a digital payment system and gave a link to a text that later became historical. Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic money system. In this document, the concept of a new virtual currency was described in detail, clearly and completely. On January 3, 2009, the mysterious author of the letter launched a Bitcoin generation program and tested it personally. A week later, on January 9th, on the website bitcoin.org, the first ready-made version of Bitcoin Core version 0.1 with open source for mining cryptocurrency with the possibility of its transfer between users has appeared. 2 years later, on April 23, 2011, One of the developers received a short email, "I've been doing other things. The future of Bitcoin is in safe hands." Satoshi Nakamoto disappeared and has not appeared until now. There are no movements on his e-wallet. Addresses and accounts are no longer used. The debate about who he is has not subsided until now, but now it has flared up with renewed vigor. There are a huge number of versions. Linguistics experts study his notes, numerologists and astrologers make maps. Conspiracy theorists make their guesses. Which of the assumptions are the most popular? One of the most famous theories, Satoshi Nakamoto stands for Samsung Sa Toshiba Toshi, Nakamichi Naka Motorola Moto. Large corporations have created a cryptocurrency for a mysterious purpose. The companies do not comment on this assumption in any way. The second version is that Nick Szabo is hiding under a pseudonym, a brilliant scientist with encyclopedic knowledge in the field of computer science, cryptography, economics, law, and the history of monetary relations. He created the concept of Bitcoin's predecessor, the decentralized digital currency BitGold back in 1998, and its architecture largely anticipates the architecture of Bitcoin. Some researchers note that the style of the texts of Szabo and Nakamoto is suspiciously similar. To some extent, he himself intrigues society by refusing to answer questions and hiding personal information. Option 3 is Satoshi Nakamoto, or rather Dorian Prentice Satoshi Nakamoto, a resident of California, an American of Japanese descent, a physics engineer who worked for the US government in the past. It is his face that will give any search engine a request about the creators of Bitcoin. The man himself categorically denies his involvement in the cryptocurrency and claims that the interference of the press is destroying the life of his family, the CIA, and the US NSA. Many experts on Nakamoto, including from Kaspersky Lab, are convinced that only these powerful organizations could assemble such a strong group of programmers and cryptographers to carry out such a project. And a few more minor versions, early Bitcoin core developers, scammers of different levels. The Mafia, a mysterious group of computer geniuses who are trying to take over the world, until Satoshi himself appears or his identity is revealed with 100% proof. The mystery will excite society. Nakamoto is believed to own at least 1 million BTC. If this is true, then his condition at today's Bitcoin exchange rate is approximately $60 billion. And some experts do not exclude that the mysterious and unpredictable creator of the cryptocurrency can simply bring down the market if desired. Every time I see a news report about the growth of the Bitcoin exchange rate, I wonder, does Satoshi see it? Is he proud? Will he ever reveal himself? See Joshua Davis, New Yorker investigative reporter. Bitcoin history. The most important detest history of Bitcoin began with Satoshi Nakamoto and did not stop even after the creator left the project. What are the main events that have happened to cryptocurrency since the launch of the mining program? On January 9, 2009. On January 12, 2009, Nakamoto transferred 10 bitcoins to developer Halfini on October 5 of the same year. Bitcoins were exchanged for dollars for the first time. One of the programmers sent $5,000 to the New Liberty Standard BC website and received $5. 2 to his PayPal wallet. For $1 then they gave about BTC 1000 in December 2009, Bitcoin 0. 2 was released on the Linux platform of Linus Torvalds in May 2010. Physical goods were purchased for Bitcoins for the first time they paid BTC 10,000 for. To Papa John's Pizzas. Today it is more than $570 million. It was the most important event since May 22nd. Pizza Day is a favorite holiday of all cryptocurrency supporters. In February 2011, the price of BTC1 catches up with the cost of $1 May 2011 after the US government blocked the accounts of the WikiLeaks organization. It began accepting payments in bitcoins. Thus, it was once again confirmed that the cryptocurrency does not depend on state sanctions destruction of Silk Road. In October 2013, American law enforcement officers closed one of the largest sites for the sale of prohibited substances. The organizers of the trade were arrested. Settlements between buyers and sellers were carried out in bitcoins in order to preserve anonymity. This caused a strong reputational blow to the cryptocurrency and affected the value. It fell by 50% in March 2016. Bitcoin began legal circulation in Japan on a par with the yen. This stimulated a new round of growth in November 2017. The price of one Bitcoin rose to $10,000 and then, in December, to $20,000. At that time, it was a record, after which the rate rose and fell until March 2020. Bitcoin recognition and RISI, a huge new branch of business, has emerged. Many have made fortunes. See Richard Branson. Entrepreneurs consider the open recognition of cryptocurrencies by large financial organizations, investors, and leading businessmen to be the main catalyst for the growth of the value of Bitcoin since the spring of 2020. They started investing in virtual coins to protect their assets from inflation, which was caused by central banks printing money and pumping them into the pandemic-stricken economy. The giant Morgan assumes an increase in the price of Bitcoin to $146,000, and the brilliant Katie Wood gives an even bolder forecast for $100,000 per unit, and the director of the investment department of the Guggenheim Foundation agrees with her. Jack Dorsey's Square Cash and PayPal are now buying back almost 100% of all newly issued Bitcoins, in a ratio of 4,060%. It became known that Dorsey started his own mining farm, and PayPal has officially allowed its users to operate with cryptocurrency since November last year. Tesla representatives announced in early February that they would accept Bitcoin for payment and invested $1.5 billion in it. The statement increased the cost of one unit by another 23%. China has not yet said its word.